7 o'clock in the morning there?
8 now. So, good old South Dakota.
I spent a semester at Dakota Wesleyan.
Oh shoot, we're up. Well, in fact, we are live now. So anyway, we are live with head coach Brian Kaler, new coach for the Frankfurt Universe. Coach Kaler started his career in Europe playing for the Allgäu Comets, then went to play for the Danube Dragons and the Kirchdorf Wildcats. He then went back to Danube to coach the Dragons for several years. Then he was with the Allgäu Comets in Kempten for 9 seasons. After last season, the Comets finished 5th or 6th place, and now he's moving on to the Frankfurt Universe. Coach Kaler, welcome to the show. What's going on, man? You're still in Kempten. You know, what are your feelings like? What's your excitement like as you get ready to go to Frankfurt?
Very excited about the opportunity. Very thankful that the Universe people, Mr. Schwarzer and Coach K reached out to me, and really excited about just getting up there and working together with those players and actually, that great fan base.
Awesome. So, what's that like? I mean, Frankfurt, Allgäu, same conference, GFL South. Did you leave on good terms with the Comets? I mean, what were your players like? What was it like telling them that you were going to go to Frankfurt?
Well, things just kind of just happened a few weeks ago. So at the time when the decision was made that the Comets weren't going to extend my contract, it was pretty much open, and the guys were really, I would say at least most of the guys were pretty shocked, as I was as well a little bit. But all good things come to an end, and when one door closes, one door opens. And since the announcement that I'm joining Frankfurt, I've got nothing but positive, support, and it seems like everybody is excited for the opportunity for me to have such a great opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, I know I'm excited to see what you can do in Frankfurt. I mean, the Universe, over the past couple of years has turned into, one of the organizations to play for in Europe. And, so it's a bigger stage, so to speak, with that big stadium, more resources, so what are your expectations, for the 2018 season, and how are you preparing now for you to come out hot in the GFL next year?
Well, obviously expectations are, with such a team and such, as you said, resources, we obviously want to, we expect to play 20 games, and that's quite a lot, but it's definitely keep the train going. We won't make a lot of big adjustments. There will be small, subtle adjustments as far as the offensive system and maybe how we do some things differently in the week and in our practice schedules. But overall, it's obviously we want to play 20 games, and at the end of it all, come away with the crown. So anytime you are coaching or playing for a team like Frankfurt or Braunschweig or Schwäbisch Hall, those teams that are classified as the cream of the crop, winning championships is always an expectation and always a goal. As I said earlier, with things just kind of, getting finalized, the whole planning for the winter workouts and things like that is kind of still in gear, and we're still working on it, trying to, fine tune that type of stuff. But we're going to be having an open tryout, an open practice on December 2nd. And that will be our first, activity with the staff. And obviously we're looking for, quality German talent to bring into the team. So.
Awesome.
So then we're actually going to be talking in the next couple of days about doing some mini camps and stuff, hopefully through January, February.
Very cool. Now talk about, Coach Kelly, you've been in Europe for 15 years nearly. Talk about how the level of football has grown since you initially played in Europe. I mean, the professionalism, the level of the athletes, the resources of the organization. Just talk about how you've seen it progress over the years.
I mean, it has progressed drastically. Just the level of commitment, number one. When like I said, I played for the Comets back in 2004, and there were times where we would have practice and there'd be like 10, 11 guys at practice, and as an American, it's like, what the heck is going on? But then, as as the years gone by and the more experiences I got with it, and obviously down in Austria and then back in Germany with the Wildcats as a player, and then in the once I started becoming a coach, I just seen a big change in the commitment level from the European players, and I think a lot of that has to do with how much publicity the sport is getting now. With all the live games on TV over here in Germany or in Europe, the great commentator. Just all the wealth. I mean, it's just, people want to learn more about the sport. And I think that has a lot to do with how, like I said, the commitment level has risen. Everybody wants to get better. They want to work hard. They want to have fun. And, as I tell my players, what's fun about the sport, about the sport of football, and that's winning football games. So, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, even in the short amount of time I've been over there, playing there for 3 years, and then obviously with Podyum now, it's more of a production now, really, in all across Europe, not only Germany. I mean, like you said, the live streams are there. You're getting fans that are coming in tailgating. You're getting halftime performances, and what's that? I mean, and then from an organization standpoint, you're having full-time team managers. I know the Universe has that are responsible to growing the organization, keeping it organized, managing the players. And I think that's really what the separation is, as far as where it was, right?
Like the professionalism has just changed a little bit. At GFL TV, for example, or down in Austria, it used to be called AFL Crush. In Austria, as far as I know, they do a live game on TV once a week. At least they used to. I don't know if they still do it or not.
Sure.
But here in Germany, obviously, we have GFL TV. It's just the access to seeing and being up to date with what's going on, whether it's college football, NFL, or even, our domestic leagues. It is obviously something where the fans can, follow more. The players can, they have more access to learning from, players in the NFL or players in college football, watching their positions. Like I always tell my guys, when you watch a game on TV, don't watch it as a fan, watch it as a student. What I mean is, watch your position, watch what that player does versus, this type of look or this type of defense or that type of formation. Is he, if you're a DB and you see him in bump and run coverage, watch his footwork, watch his hand placement, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I think having all that access allows the players as well to learn and, better their skills.
Well, and even like, let's talk specifically about the GFL South. I mean, 5 years ago, it was pretty much the Unicorns, Comets here and there, and the GFL South couldn't compare to the GFL North. Now I feel like that gap is absolutely closing, right? I mean, you guys are going to have a battle nearly every week of the year coming up in 2018.
Yeah. I could be going on a limb here, but I'm a big fan of Martin Hanselman. I think he's had a hand in it because he's a great football coach. He's a great, football mind, and he's very passionate about development of football. And he lives here in southern Germany, and he's kind of, led this whole Bavarian coaches convention. And there's, in my opinion, it's probably one of the biggest conventions in all of Germany, if not Europe, because there's people from Austria, there's people from Sweden, Switzerland rather, who come in. And I think just, the things that he has done has allowed the South to improve and the coaches in the South to improve as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, shout out to Martin. Martin's an awesome guy. He's got Lucas Grice, who's working with us as well. So, with the Blitzburg Panthers, those guys are awesome. And so, with the Universe, what are you most excited about? I mean, what are you looking forward to in Frankfurt? You're moving from a small town in Kempten. Are you going to stay? You're not going to stay living in Kempten, are you? You're going to move to Frankfurt.
No, I'm gonna definitely at a particular point be moving up there, and I'll be up there for this. When season goes full time, I'll be up there full time. Yeah.
Okay.
There's just some loose ends that got to get tied up, and then some decisions have to be made how we're going to do it with my family, and so.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really just looking forward to being in a professional environment. Working with players that I know are doing what they're supposed to do outside of practice and who are committed to the end result. And, it's a sport. We want to have fun with it. But I kind of have a feeling when you're with a team like the Universe or with Braunschweig or Schwäbisch Hall, those players care a little bit more about, the end result. And it's more than just having fun.
Right.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that aspect of it. And I'm also looking forward to, just being in that atmosphere multiple times versus being in there once a year. I mean, it's a great place to play. There's always a positive energy. The fans are, they support the team. There's a lot to be excited about. And I'm like I said, I'm very thankful and very blessed to have the opportunity.
Well, I'm excited for you. Now, talk about the Comets, and it was kind of a roller coaster ride while you were there. You saw them at the lows, you saw them at the highs. Coach, what are the intangibles of the team, the great team that you coach? What's the difference between these great teams and some of these mediocre teams that you were a part of?
It's a good question. When I go back to when we started, 2011 was the first year we were in the third league. We won our first championship. There was that level of commitment was there. Everybody knew that we had great potential. We had experienced players. We had great. We worked very good together between the coaching staff and the management. Same thing went into 2012 when we were our first year in the second league. We won the second league championship, and then 2013. We had a good group, a couple of imports who were phenomenal players. We had a very large group of talented Germans. And then we made the jump into the GFL. It was, definitely, all right, we're here now. We want to make sure we're being, we're consistent in the GFL. And, it was just about really becoming identified as one of the top programs, one of the better programs. And then there were times where, like the last two seasons, where we, lost some players to injuries or lost some players to personal situations. And, we relied on a lot of youth, a lot of young players. There were times in the last two seasons where we had no idea who was going to be playing offensive line, or we didn't know who was going to play receiver up until game time. And it obviously, puts you in a stressful situation, a hard situation to be successful when that happens. Our lowest point while I've been here was obviously probably this past season in regards to the off season more so, because we really didn't know what our team was going to be until actually April.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a particular time where we had more players who were registered for the second team than we had actually for the GFL team. And so there was definitely some head scratching and a lot of, trouble, just trouble trying to figure out what we were going to do.
Yeah.
And we knew going into the season that it was going to be extremely difficult. Obviously, we played probably the stronger teams in the first first half of our schedule, but we were excited about the talent, from the inexperienced guys. And we just knew that we had to keep it going, keep them believing. And at some point in time, we would start winning some games. And we did that, and we had opportunity to, finish in third place had we have won one or two more games that we should have won. And unfortunately, due to our youth and due to some injuries and lack of depth, we lost a couple games that we probably should have won, and it cost us. So,
well, and I remember playing against you guys in 2014 when I was with the Unicorns. You guys had an awesome home environment. I mean, very similar to Schwäbisch Hall. Not a huge stadium, but fit 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 fans, and it was rocking on game day. I mean, that had to be fun to be a part of and watch that grow, because I know it wasn't like that when you first got there.
No, it wasn't. When I was here as a player, we kind of had that those diehard fans. 400, 500, 600 people. And then as we, really got hot, we started winning that, those championships, a couple championships, bro, moved up to the GFL. It was just a boom, and stadium was always packed. And the fans here in Kempton, they're wonderful. They're great. They travel with the team. They really support the team, and it was tough, for it to come to an end, because I knew that over 9 seasons I had a connection with the fans as well.
Right.
And but it was definitely a great experience as well. Game days here in Kempton are wild, and if they don't like something, they're going to let you know.
Well, and I can only imagine that's going to be amplified in Frankfurt. They got some loyal fans that were with them in NFL Europe. Now that they seem to just get huge attendance at their games, and switching lanes a little bit to imports. You've been in Europe. You've seen a wide variety of American imports, of European imports. What are the things that you look for when you're trying to sign some talent to bring in?
Obviously, their experience, what they've done, whether it's a guy, right out of college, what's his status in the team? Was he a team captain? What's his, character in our, negotiations or in our talks? We always, of course, try to, set up phone calls or Skype calls or whatever, so we get a good feel for a kid before we extend an offer. But obviously, we want to see that wow factor when we're watching some film. And, like all coaches, we definitely want to try to get the best players we possibly can. Obviously, finances are always a big, not issue, but, you can't always just give out your whole budget on one player.
Right.
You definitely want to try to sign the best players you possibly can, and that wow factor has to be there as well.
Totally. And it seems like, American imports, a lot of times they almost cancel each other out in the GFL. Each team brings over 4 to 6 great Americans. So how important is that German talent for you guys in 2018 to be successful? And how are you, kind of putting those pieces together right now?
It's extremely important. I always said that, even when I was in Kempton, that need to really, really focus on, bringing those guys into the forefront. A lot of times the imports get a lot of the credit because they're always, in the newspaper, or they're always, being highlighted with the big plays of the week, or big stats or whatever. But your domestic players, your German players, that's your core of your team, and you really got to make sure you take care of them. And that was important for me to make sure that wherever I wanted to go, I wanted to really try to professionalize the team or the situation for them. So
awesome. Well, just a couple more questions. So, Coach, what do you want your legacy to be in Europe as a coach? I know you're a young guy. I know you've got a lot of years ahead of you. But what impact do you want to leave on the game of football internationally?
To be honest with you, legacy, that's a hard word. I don't really think about that. I just really want to be focused on, how can I affect my players' lives? How can I better them as an individual, or what can I do to, make their, personal situation better, as well as providing them with a great opportunity or a great, experience as a player, and, trying to teach them, like football taught me a lot about life. And I try to use, what my coaches taught me and what I learned from the sport. I try to use that to, help my players out as well. So I guess legacy, I guess I would, if I had to answer the question, I just want to be known as somebody who, really cared for his team, cared for his players, was committed, was passionate about what he did. And, that's just kind of my goal in life. I want to be the best person I can be, the best husband, the best father. And hopefully those skills of being a husband and being a father can also translate over to being a better coach and a good coach for my players.
Certainly. Well, Coach Kaler, it's a pleasure to get to chat with you here on Podium Live. I wish you the best of luck in Frankfurt. I will likely see you in February, but we will see. To be determined.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. And like I said before we got started, it what you guys are doing there at the Podium. I believe it's a great thing, and keep working hard. And it's a fantastic thing to just to promote the sport throughout Europe, and obviously the connection between teams and players. It's I strongly believe in what you guys are doing.
Really appreciate that, Coach. Really appreciate it. So awesome. Well, have a super day. Best of luck, man. You got a lot of work to do.
Sure do.
All right, man.
All right, well, take care.
Take care.